So part two of the character modeling. I'm just trying to take you through the steps to actually get you to the to a kind of presentable version of a model. My last tutorial didn't really go very far in that, but what I did last time without any talking was I started box modeling. I started from a simple cube, and I added edge loops, and that's really good. Adding the edge loops, selecting them, and changing the kind of scale of the edge loops to give kind of changes to width in the body. Then extruding from there, so extruding faces, and then I actually created some edge loops to subdivide the side and the bottom faces of the body, and then I just extruded, and then I subdivided, and I was able to through some simple proportional editing, kind of distort the thing, deform the thing until it's starting to look like a bit like a body. And I've just been going back and forth. I didn't even, in the last one, drag the side view out as an independent thing. I was just working between front view and right view to do my work. And then, I mean, once you get the basic shapes put in, you can kind of work in three dimensions. Another thing I did pretty early on was that I cut the body. I did an edge loop right down the middle, and I cut the body in half by selecting and then deleting vertices. And then I added a mirror modifier right here, and you can make adjustments to that, but that's a really handy thing. One thing that so after adding the mirror modifier, at some point you're going to be applying that mirror modifier, but I probably wouldn't do it yet because I would probably take the time to develop the hands and the feet and get a lot more specific, so I wouldn't have to worry about the mirroring. And this mirror modifier is probably more consistently used for these larger projects like full figures than the simple x-axis mirroring. I think that in edit mode, when you're doing extrusions, that wouldn't necessarily be reflected on the other side if you are doing simple x-axis mirroring. But in the case that I'm working with a mirror modifier, that will actually be, everything I do here will be reflected. So however I change the mesh, it's going to be reflected along this axis. And I noticed that as I'm editing with proportional edits, it's easy to accidentally pull the center line of this guy away from where it's being mirrored, from the axis of mirroring, which it happens to be just the x-axis. So one thing I could do maybe is I could actually go in here and just make sure my X-ray view is on. I could select this whole line, or I could just select the edge loop. Let's see if I can still do that. If I hold Shift and click, look at that. It selects the whole edge loop. Wonderful. I could do something like push the H button. What happens when I do that? Hide. It hides that edge. And whenever I hide something, it can no longer be affected. Now that doesn't look great in terms of my preview, so maybe I don't want to do that. I'm going to, what is it, it's Option H to unhide. But actually hiding is an important thing to talk about. Hiding or masking is something that you can do if you only want to affect a certain area and not another area. So if, for instance, I wanted to adjust everything on the body with proportional editing, but I didn't want to touch the arm, I'm going to turn on my X-ray view so I select all the points. But I could select like all the points in the arm, and I have my select lasso, which is a little bit different than my box selection. So I could select all those points. I don't know if that's quite what I want, but select all those points, and then I can go in, I can push H to hide, and then I can go into the rest of these forms and really go to town on modifying them, and then I can hit Option H to unhide, and this will be in the same position. I can also, when I have something selected, I think Shift H selects the inverse of whatever I have selected. So if I only wanted to move the arm and the hand, and I could kind of, whoops, didn't mean to hide that. Okay. So yeah, so you get the point. This can also be a handy way of thinking in terms of just editing a portion when you're working in sculpt mode. Like I'm going to go into sculpt mode here and turn off proportional editing. And I can work back and forth between sculpt and edit mode. And right now I have a very minimal number of vertices. You can see how blocky it is, and I'm shading flat, so I'm not really worried about shading flat or smooth. If I wanted to shade smooth, I can do that later. But if I wanted to only work on like the arm modeling for now, but I'm still using a pretty strong brush. Right now I'm holding Shift to smooth, and I could get a much more refined model here quite easily. And I'm not using Dynotopo. I'm going to try to stick it out with just using what I have, and then doing a couple more subdivisions later. I'm gonna try to do the whole thing here without Dynotopo to just show you that there is a way to get a pretty nicely rendered model without going hog wild. So anyway, don't want to smooth forever. I'll do this without narrating. But if I wanted to edit everything but the arm again, I have the ability to hide. I have a hide tool, a box hide, and I also have this mask tool. I did notice, however, when I was trying the tutorial a minute ago that the masking wasn't appearing, and that is because for some reason, one reason or another, the mirror modifier, when it's in view, you can't see the mask. So I'm going to just turn off. This is my modifier panel, and here's my mirror modifier. And I'm just going to turn off the real-time visibility. You can turn off where these modifiers are visible. Is it visible in edit mode? Is it visible in real time? Is it going to render? And that kind of thing. This is, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the visibility in real time. So that's off. And now I'm going to turn on mask. Masking brush. I can mask whatever I want to here. I think I have to be on plus. Yeah, I have to be on plus to mask, and I can mask that whole arm. And so now when I make edits with whatever other tool I want to use, it's not going to affect. And you can see that there's a kind of range of influence, like something might be slightly influenced or not at all. There's a kind of continuum there for influencing. And that comes in pretty handy, especially when you're getting into these like detailed edits. If I wanted to only adjust the ear, I could go in here and hide this area out. Whoops, I don't want to box. Whoops, I don't want to box hide. I wanted to. So hiding, you can see, has a similar effect. Here's masking. I can mask this stuff out. And if I turn it on, I want to change the visibility on that. And I don't have too many vertices, so it's going to quickly edge out my ability to actually mask with any precision. So I think, can I just undo all, can I reset all masking? Maybe I can just do that. What would that do? Nope. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of it now by painting with the other tool. I know there's an automatic way to delete all masks, but I don't know off the top of my head. So just going to you can see that it's already, even without the X-ray mode, it's kind of drawing through the object, which is pretty handy. Okay, and so now I'm just going to keep working on this model. And again, I'm just going to turn my mirroring back on for the time being. Oops. This my hiding is. Holding command will do the opposite direction. think I'm gonna have to create some more data. And I could do a subsurface modifier for this. I'm sorry, subdivision surface modifier for this. That would give me a non-destructive seemingness of more data. But since I'm going to need to it wouldn't actually give me the reality of having more granularity to work with in the sculpting mode. So I'm just going to do an actual subdivision to give me more data in reality. Actually, I don't know if I need all this stuff. Well, whatever. I'll take it for now. Let's see. Let's go to side view. Going back to box select, get all these guys, and gotta turn back on X-ray mode so I can get everything through. Changing the size of my proportional editing brush. Oh, I do want a tail, don't I? I'm going to set it on the tail.